Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to episode 76 of the Snarp Fangle Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Metzger, and this time around I got a fella who ain't beaten and blown by the wind, as well as he's pulling his dreams up from the desert. Ladies and gentlemen, David Reed. David, how are you doing today?
Doing all right.
Good to hear, good to hear. And for comments, concerns, and if you want us to listen to your favorite album and take a deep dive into it, send them on over to snarpfanglepod@gmail.com, or you can just text Jake. Either one will work. All right, David. So today we're talking about a certain album today.
Indeed.
And before we get into it, I just wanted to say, for those unaware, we are doing what is all called peak analysis. If you're not familiar with this in the Snarp Fangle universe, peak analysis is basically our deep dive, our spoiler cast, our most intense thoughts about a certain piece of media, whether it be album, movie, TV show, series, I don't know, something like that.
You name it.
You name it. And today we're talking about the third studio album from the most famous band, Linkin Park, titled Minutes
It's actually
to Midnight.
their fourth studio album.
The third studio album, Minutes to Midnight, is Linkin Park's third one?
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the rest of your thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about today, right?
I derailed your joke. I'm sorry.
Are we talking? No, we're talking about Minutes to Midnight tonight,
Yes,
right? Yeah, the best
yes.
Linkin Park album, you know?
Yeah. I think I owned it, actually.
Did you have the CD?
Is that the one that has the song that was in Transformers 1?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, I'm going to say yeah.
What I've Done?
Yeah. Let's say that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I owned it as a kid.
Yeah, that's the only song I've listened to. I need to go and listen to the rest, I think.
I mean, the rest was... I don't even remember what
I
the rest
remember,
was
yeah,
like.
yeah.
I haven't listened to Linkin Park in so long.
Yeah, we're talking about that, right? Right, David?
Yeah, totally, dear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Though, yeah, the one that I can't even barely remember what it is. Yeah, we're doing a deep dive into that one.
Yeah, God, what have I done? Okay, well, actually, we're talking about Limp Bizkit's debut album, $3 Bill, y'all. So let's just hop right into it.
I thought we were talking about Chocolate Starfish.
Oh, shoot, dang it. Oh, man. Or Significant Other, or whatever his other one was. Anyway, jokes aside, let's talk about U2's The Joshua Tree. So, David, I'm going to actually pass it off to you here to get a little bit of context, get a little intro about this album, because you prompted me with this, and I was like, sure, I don't know. And then I went and listened to it and did some note-taking, and yeah, what is The Joshua Tree? Why is it significant to you, and why did you pick it?
So, let's see. We were kind of just figuring out what we're going to do, and then I think it was your idea. We were talking about doing another music episode, and I think it was your idea. Let's do another album that you hadn't heard before. And then I think we were talking about, I don't know what we were talking about before, but like, it just kind of like, as I was like, well, we could blah, 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 we could blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden it just came to my mind, clear as day, that this is the one that we should do. So I can't really explain how it came to be, but that's what happened. As far as how I came across this album, I mean, I've always known who U2 is. It's like they're one of the biggest bands ever. So, and my first exposure to them as a kid was, I think I listened to some like one of like some compilation album of theirs, and was my first exposure. And I remember just not caring for it very much, other than the song Sunday, Bloody Sunday. I enjoyed that. That is not on this album. That's from their second album, I want to say, War. And then I kind of just wrote them off, forgot about them, didn't think about them again for a long time. And then as I got a little older, as I got into my early 20s and started really deep diving on music, really chewing on it, really getting into it, so to speak. I started thinking about U2 again, and by that time I had, done a whole lot of reading on the interwebs about music and music history and all sorts of things. Just basically everything music, culture, the history, the everything. I was interested in it all. And so one subject that had sort of always come up in my in various articles and podcasts and video essays and whatever other form of media that I could find about music, um, was the influence of U2 on subsequent pop music. And growing up in the church, um, I had been exposed to, Christian rock and praise and worship music, and that was a more discussed topic was the influence of U2 on Christian rock and the praise and worship music of the 90s and the 2000s. That was kind of like, the whole dotted eighth delay on the guitars and all that. So I kind of just I'm curious about that, because from what I remember of listening to U2, it didn't sound like Hillsong or early Chris Tomlin or anything like that. So I was like, okay, let me look into this band again and see what all this is about. And so I just kind of worked my way through their early albums. And then I think when I got to listening to this album, is when, U2, not only did it answer the question for me of, why everyone was talking about them in relation to, early popular praise and worship music, but it also, I guess my brain had just matured to enough of a degree where I was listening to this album's oh, I get why people like this band now. And while I'm not going to say I'm a hardcore U2 fan by any stretch of the imagination, I would say I pretty much only like their 80s output. But I definitely gained a much bigger appreciation for them and for their place in musical history. And this album specifically, I would say, it really, on listening to it, taking the time to go through it, it really changed my opinion. It really changed my opinion of, oh, it's just whatever, too. It's wow, this is a great album.
Yeah, I remember when you prompted this to me and you're like, oh yeah, Joshua Tree, that's a good album. And we were talking about U2 in some other context, I think. And then you brought it up and I was like, oh, I'm sure. I don't know. I thought you were going to say Depeche Mode or something, some random album from them. But
I was going to hit you with a Neurosis album.
Who are they? I don't know who that is.
Because I remember it was we were oh, an album that you've never listened to, huh? I was like, we could do a metal album.
Oh, yeah.
That would be really not in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's like me suggesting Owl City albums to you.
I was gonna hit you with a Neurosis album, which I think you might not like it, but I think you would understand what makes them so great.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. But then I think it was, I remember what it was now. You mentioned, let's do another classic album.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that is
like Dark Side of the Moon or something, yeah.
Yeah, that's what brought this to my mind, because this album is truly a classic.
Okay, yeah.
And metal kind of factors into this too, because when I first rediscovered U2 and started listening to this album and started appreciating it a whole lot more than I thought I was going to. It was kind of significant because I was much more of a metalhead back then, and wussy soft rock just didn't do it for me. But
that's one way to describe it.
But then just giving it a chance, listening to it with an open mind, I discovered there was a lot more depth to it than just some wussy soft rock album, you know?
Yeah, you know what? I was listening to this last night, and as I was going through, I'm like, you know what? This ain't entirely my thing, but I'm going to give it a fair shot. And so I did. I went through it. I listened to the whole thing. I even, I wrote notes. I even re-listened to some songs. And overall, I enjoyed it. I think it's a good album. I can tell why, and definitely see, it's apparent to me why it's very special to a lot of people. I'm for context, I ain't no music expert. I don't know a single thing about music theory. I love lyric writing, though. I do love to analyze that. I love rap in general in that aspect and just all that kind of thing. But I'm not you hand me the bass, I don't know what to do with it. You hand me the triangle, I could barely keep on beat, But here we are, and I'm ready to get into it. So, so yeah, we're gonna go through song by song here. And this is their third album, dude?
This is their fourth album.
Fourth.
So
okay.
their debut was called Boy. And then their second album was War. And then their third album
was called God of War.
No.
Boy.
That would have been funny, though. What was their second? Their third album, I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
But
we'll just say God of War. They're very clairvoyant in their titling.
Yeah. But then, their third album was where they're kind of like the beginnings of the sound of this album started coming in. And then this album is where that sound got fully realized.
I just realized I'm on Spotify right now. I don't know if they have all the albums. Let me see real quick here. Because this is their fourth. So let me click on U2. Let's see what this is. Okay, Boy's the first one. Discography. Show everything.
I should know it too, because their third album is also another one which I particularly enjoyed. Out of all their discography, after deep diving into them, I'm still not the biggest fan of U2 in general.
Oh man,
but there's some bangers on their third album. What is it called?
October?
No. That's
okay.
a song on their second album.
Okay, so we have War, and then after War is that's a compilation. The Unforgettable Fire?
Yes.
Okay, that was 84. Okay, gotcha.
And then this album is 87, I believe.
Yeah, 87, yeah. And then how many total tracks for you? Because I have 11 here.
There's 11 tracks on the album.
11. All right, gotcha. Cool. All right, well then you wanna get into it?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. I'm gonna let you intro us into this first track, and then we'll go through it.
All right, let me grab my notes here.
Yeah.
All right, so the first track is Where the Streets Have No Name. This is kind of one of their bigger hits, I would say, from the album. So even if you've never listened to this album, there's a chance you might have heard this song before. That it starts with that, like, the guitar fades in and it's got that dotted eighth delay on it, which became a hallmark of 90s and 2000s praise and worship music and Christian rock. So basically, for some background context, when U2 started off, like, they weren't very good. Like,
that's what we're talking about.
They sucked. They really were not good at their craft. Like, Bono was a good singer, but he was, like, all over the place. And the guitarist, who is known as The Edge or Edge, I can't remember.
Kind of like Flea from Five Iron. What was it called? Five Iron Frenzy? No, Red Hot Chili Peppers. That was it.
I'm right there. You can see kind of the rumblings of, like, on this album, I feel like they were still earnest, but, like, on their later stuff, they just became the most self-absorbed douchebags you can possibly imagine. And their nicknames are kind of like the rumbling, like the early warnings of that, because Bono's not actually the lead singer's name. That's
okay.
A nickname. And then the guitarist went by, instead of going by his name, I can't even remember his name, went by The Edge.
The Edge.
Which, sounds really
Yowzer.
stupid when,
Yeah.
like, looking back on it.
Yowzers.
Like, yeah, I'm The Edge. Oh!
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know where to go from there.
But anyway, so The Edge, as he's known in the beginning,
Whole lot of edge.
was a very terrible guitarist. And one thing he did to kind of like disguise his bad playing was he used what's called a delay pedal, which basically sends an echo of whatever you play into it into your amp. So like, you go into a big open space and you say hello, and then you hear hello, but it's all ghostly and warbly, and it kind of fades out into the ether, kind of a thing. A delay pedal basically mimics that effect.
Okay.
And so he used the delay pedal to add rhythmic complexity to his guitar playing that he could not have done with his very rough playing technique. So he kind of used it as like a cheat. But as they got better and as they got hooked up with producers who kind of knew their stuff, they were sort of helped. These producers like Brian Eno, Daniel Lanois, who were masters of their craft, sort of helped them refine this thing that was originally a crutch and turn it into something that was like almost like a signature sound. And so this song is where you really hear that. You hear basically what happens is, so there's in general, music can be in general, the music that you hear is going to be in what's called 4/4. That means it's when you count out the rhythm, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that rhythm, that 1, 2, 3, 4, that note length is called quarter notes.
Okay.
And everything is in like fractions of 2, basically. So 2 quarter notes is a half note. 2 half notes or 4 quarter notes is a whole note, and then you can also subdivide it the other way around. If you take half of a quarter note, you get an eighth note, so you can count it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so now there's 8 notes in the measure instead of 4 because they're half the length, and then you can go 16th, 32nd, 64th notes. But there's one little wrinkle. There's a couple little wrinkles to that system, and one of that is dotted notes. So dotted notes mean you take the whatever half of that note's value and add it to it. So it ends up being, a dotted note ends up being equivalent to 3 of the note that should be that should be 2 of it. So like a dotted eighth, so an eighth note is normally equivalent to 2 16th notes, but a dotted eighth note is equivalent to 3 16th notes.
Weird.
So that's one of the exceptions to the whole like divide it by 2 or multiply it by 2 system of note convention. And so all this is necessary, just background context.
Yeah.
So dotted eighth delay means you take the because on a delay pedal you can adjust the echo time. So you could play a note. So you could play a note. Say you play a note that's like "bwah," and you can have it echo "bwah, bwah, 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 bwah," or "bwah, bwah, bwah, bwah." And you can adjust like how many times it echoes, how long it fades out, how smeared and ethereal the echoes sound, all that stuff. So what The Edge is doing on this song is he's taking the time, the echo time, and making it a dotted eighth note. So whatever the tempo of the song is, however many beats per minute it is, he's making the delay time on the guitar a dotted eighth note. And what happens when you play, and The Edge never had any music theory background, of course. This is something he found by accident. But the interesting thing that happens when you play eighth notes, you play an eighth note rhythm, but use a dotted eighth delay, it creates this unique sort of galloping sort of sound.
Yeah.
And so that is like this intro to this song is like almost like the signature dotted eighth galloping sound that U2 like the poster child for it. And this is kind of like many people, many guitarists have strived to replicate exactly the particular dotted eighth delay sound on this song. Like, I've seen people in forums like spending thousands of dollars on vintage rack equipment just so they can nail exactly that particular dotted eighth sound that this song has in its intro.
Interesting.
So that's part of the reason why U2 is so talked about in terms of like influence on praise and worship and early Christian rock guitarists, because they really took to the whole dotted eighth delay thing, whereas in general popular music did not adopt it as adopt it en masse, So yeah, so with that background information out of the way, this is basically the poster child for that signature edge dotted eighth delay. And so it's kind of fitting how it's the first track on the album. But this is actually a great song. It's more than just fancy delay tricks, I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
You have this, it kind of gives you a taste of the world you're about to enter. Because like you have to realize that this sort of atmosphere that this album has is commonplace nowadays.
Yeah.
It inspired a lot of copycats in terms of production and songwriting and atmosphere.
Like Limp Bizkit.
Yes.
No, I'm joking.
exactly like Limp Bizkit. But in the 80s, bands didn't really make music like this, especially not bands making like pop songs, Like there was some like artists who were making some weirdo like ethereal sort of ambient music back in the 80s. Brian Eno, the guy who produced this album, was one of them, but they were not they were not writing like mainstream pop songs. And then all of a sudden this comes along and it's basically unlike anything that ever been done in the pop world before. And so it's yes, everything sounds just so ethereal, like you're in this, because reverb and echoes in music like cue us into what kind of space a sound takes place in, because that's what our ears listen for, is the reflections of sound off of surfaces to tell us what kind of space the sound that we're hearing is taking place in. And most of the time, music producers will they'll use reverb and echoes. Like, this is not the first band to use reverb and echoes in their production, not by a long shot.
Yeah.
But usually what they aim for is something akin to like a realistic space. Like this, like they're trying to go for something like, oh, this music takes place in like, a concert hall, or maybe it takes place in a cramped bar, or maybe it takes place outdoors or something.
Yeah. Well, it kind of echoes. I recently found a descriptor of what film is kind of viewed as, where it's not really reality. It's not trying to mimic reality. It's trying to portray its own version of reality. And that's why film is so captivating sometimes, because it can romanticize reality. It can show you the gritty downside of reality, but also it can never replicate exactly what reality, that the world we live in, is. It just can, because of a film, because of a camera, because of all that. With our eyes, we just can never see it. But with music, It's interesting. I feel like this album absolutely transports you somewhere.
Yeah, so this
Does a good job at it, I would
so
say.
this basically bucks the trend of trying to make music sound like it takes place in a realistic space. And this music sounds like it takes place in some kind of space that you can't possibly imagine, almost like a heavenly space. Which is kind of interesting too, because the lyrics are all about basically longing for heaven, longing for the afterlife, longing for something better than the broken world that we face.
Yeah.
This was another thing that was kind of a big deal about U2 is like, up to this point, like most popular music, I mean, it's still the norm, but U2 kind of opened up another avenue for artists to go. Whereas before it was all popular music was sex, drugs, rock and roll, basically.
Yeah, there you go.
And then the U2, especially with this album, really basically opened the door for artists to talk about something more worthwhile.
Yeah.
So this song's lyrics are basically longing for heaven. I wouldn't call U2 a Christian rock band, but there are some Christian themes in their lyrics. And the title actually comes from the idea. So I guess in Ireland, which is where this band was from, when they grew up in Ireland, like where you were from sort of defined you. Like you could never get rid of the expectations or the impressions that people got of you by knowing what street you grew up on. So here, Bono characterizes a longing for a place that is free of all that by talking about a place where the streets have no name.
That's really cool. Man. Yeah, for me, I was listening to this and I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. This is like I would say ethereal is the word I would use, just diving into this. It's also pretty groovy. I like it. It's got a vibe, as the kids would say. I particularly like the lyrics. The city's a flood and our love turns to rust. We're beaten and blown by the wind, trampled in dust. And you know what? You could take this in any kind of different way. You say heaven. You could also see it as maybe somebody's been in a rocky relationship or something like that, at least from what I took away from it. But they came out the other side still with that person. Like they persevered through it. And now they're on their way to somewhere else, The song for me, it also screams like kind of like a victory chant almost. Like kind of like we're on our way to heaven or something like that, And it echoes like there's a journey that has happened or is starting, the ups, the downs, the highs and lows, the losses, the gains, the destruction, the divine. Like the intro really speaks. And I didn't find out after I listened to the whole album through. I was like, oh, it's all right. But then I was like, I found out Bono's actually Christian, and I was like, interesting. But was he Christian during this time? Well, it's called the Joshua Tree. And when you look at the lyrics from a certain perspective or that perspective, you could see his influence there.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, they were definitely
religious of some kind.
They definitely saw themselves as Christians, I think, during this time period.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if they were always kind of a bit more on the progressive side.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how deep rooted their faith is, but they always had a very Christian sort of mindset.
Yeah, you can see that progressivism a little, definitely in a lot of the songs, for sure. But there's also like a cry for hope in a lot of them, or hey, like I love my favorite track, which we'll get to. I think it was number 6. Like that track is kind of like, usually in the drug, sex, rock and roll, it's going to be like, we go down with the big man and we hate the man, we hate working for the man. But it's like, it more analyzes, hey, the journey this man is on is hard. He's working for the man, I guess you could say. But life is still beautiful, even in the struggle, is what I took away from it. But I don't know. You got 87 here, David. You got people like Carmen making a lot of big music in the Christian space at this moment, which, give her, love him or hate him, Carmen was Carmen, and he made a big difference, I would say. Whether he's your style or not, I mean, it's definitely not mine a whole lot, but Carmen's real interesting.
Yeah, Carmen was around during this time, which is
Yeah.
kind of interesting because U2's influence kind of killed Carmen's influence, at least on the musical side in the Christian music world.
Because, and we'll get into it, but dude, like I see Newsboys in this album. I see, especially for King and Country, a more recent example. But there's a lot you could take away. But this track, specifically the first one, it's pretty cool. I like it. It's good stuff.
So I just realized I only have 10 on this list.
Oh.
And I thought there was 11, but I'm missing one if you have 11.
Was that Mothers of the Disappeared?
No, I have that.
Exit.
I have that.
One Tree Hill?
One Tree Hill. That's what
song.
I'm missing.
That's good.
That's what I'm missing. Okay. Yes. Okay.
We'll get to that.
But I've heard that song enough times. I didn't need to write notes on it.
I thought you were going to be like, oh, we're pausing the podcast. I gotta go
it's
back.
good. It's good. I don't need to listen to that song.
All right, no worries. All right.
Oh, where is it in the list?
That's number 9, One Tree Hill.
So it's just before Exit?
Yep. Right after Trip Through Your Wires.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about that first track. It's like I was going through this and this whole album and I'm like, 7 out of 10. Whatever. It's not really my thing, but I can see why it's good. But then like looking at it at a different perspective, I'm like, oh, okay. Let me see it through that lens. And then it totally changes how I looked at this album. Whether it was the tension from Bono and the U2 group, I don't know. But I'm down with I'm willing to pick up what they're putting down, basically. So, yeah.
All right. You want to move on to the next track then?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the next track, another big hit. We got Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. This one, like, it's just, this one for me is like a really good example of kind of, I mean, later on they sort of turn into self-absorbed douchebags. But at this stage in their career, Bono was quite the lyricist. And this is a good example to me of just how Bono's songwriting here really elevates rock lyricism to a whole nother level.
Dude, yeah.
Just because it's, you've got this idea of he very explicitly names some Christian doctrines, talks about having hope in, basically, to sum it up, he basically is talking about having hope in Christ returning to right all the wrongs in this world. But then as he's talking about all that stuff, it's like there's this journey that he is on and he's looking for something. There's a longing in his heart for something better than what he sees, but he hasn't quite gotten there yet. And it's the tension between the idea of something better coming, but it isn't here yet. Kind of a thing that really, really makes this song special for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny that you say that because you even look in I think it's the second... Good catch. The second verse, I think, or no, it's sort of the beginning, where it's like, I have kissed honey lips, felt the healing in your fingertips, it burned like fire, like burning desire. And you could equate that to, I would say even Proverbs 5, where like, oh, the words of the like illustrious woman or whatever are drip like honey, basically. But like, it's not fulfilling, it's sinful and you don't want to be anywhere near that, And then he goes into, he says, I've spoke with the tongue of angels, I've held the hand of the devil, and all this kind of stuff. Like, it reminds you a little bit of the writings of David, I would say. Just a little bit, like from Psalms or something like that. I like the bass line of the song. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And this is also kind of a song that sort of the first song that kind of shows that, because they're an Irish band, right?
Yeah.
But like the whole musical theme of this album is rooted in American
Yeah.
roots music.
Yeah.
They were very, very
is
influenced by blues and gospel. And so this track really has kind of like a gospel sort of influence to it.
Yeah.
Despite all the reverbed and delay soaked guitars, like you can really hear like almost like this song being meant for like a gospel choir.
Yeah. It's really it's very poignant. It's beautiful. It's the only song I've heard, I think, from this album. Like, I've heard the song just being played somewhere, and it's got over, I think, 1 billion views on Spotify or whatever. Or no, that's the next one. But it's, I've heard it before. But it's funny, I've never heard the one that has like 1 billion plus views or listens or whatever. But I've heard this one. Strange. So it's a good song. I don't. The layering's really interesting. I'm gonna pretend I know what I'm talking about, but like, I'm not gonna pretend I know what I'm talking about, because like the layering and all the little things that are introduced, and as the song progresses, I also love how this album kind of just sticks with the instrumental. It doesn't fade out like a cheesy '80s album. It just sticks with it until it ends, which is really nice. I really like that aspect. Like the song will end at like 3 minutes 12 seconds, and then there's a whole minute of just instrumental. Really nice touch. What else did I write down here?
Yeah, the production on this album is truly top notch. And on this song in particular, like everything is like all the different elements are all just like glued together perfectly. Like some songs you listen to, or some artists you listen to, and things like little elements of the mix kind of poke out at you. This, like, nothing really pokes out. It all is really glued together into one cohesive whole, even though it's comprised of many, many, many individual layers.
Yeah, it's impressive. Like, you can tell why people would have this song or this album in a special place in their heart, because there's I don't know what it is. I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say the word vibe, because that's not it. It's something else. It's like, I think it's part of the lyrics, which are relatable, and they kind of grab onto how people can look at life. It also is hopeful. Like, it gives you something to look forward to. Or it's kind of, and it's also melancholy in a way. It's really weird. It has this weird balancing act with all these different aspects, but it's very much its own thing. So that's all I really got for that second one.
Yeah, all right. So let's go on to the third track. Then another one of the big hit ones. We got With or Without You.
With or without you.
This song here, let's see what I wrote down for it. Shows off Bono's range. Yeah, this song really, really shows, because like at least in this phase of their career, like the piercing high notes was kind of Bono's sort of bread and butter. And this song is kind of a really cool thing, how it like transitions from low, starts off really low, and then it goes high.
Yeah.
So you can hear that Bono's got a nice, deep, rich voice, as well as being able to hit all those piercing high notes.
Sometimes it goes a little too far in some later songs. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of annoyed me, but with this song, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, my first impression of just hearing this was definitely early Newsboys. Like, and they started, I think, probably 5 years after this, if not that. And you can really hear it in this song if you're familiar with Newsboys, that especially as the song gets into the chorus, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Peter Fuller like would cite U2 as an inspiration, because there's a lot of that DNA you can see in their albums going forward, especially when you get into what's that one called, Going Public, with that album, with Spirit Thing specifically in that song. Just really interesting, really cool stuff. Also, never heard the song, but like I mentioned before, 1 billion plus views on Spotify. I don't think I've ever heard the song at all, or anything other song from this album, but definitely that second one there. let's see what else I got. I can also imagine this song's like an anthem for many generations. Like it speaks to the lost lovers and remorse of the free will of those we love, I would say. And it gives those that we give everything up for, basically. It has a unique positivity toward the future. It's definitely a song it to be remembered for sure. And also my favorite part's the end. After the 4 minute mark, the bass line really comes in and the song is just vibes until the ending. It's really great.
Yeah. This song, the like lead guitar that comes in at the end on the "and you give yourself away" part, that like is copied so many times in so many 90s and 2000s worship songs. Just like they basically ripped it straight out of the song.
Yeah. It's funny when you think about it. Like you look at modern worship today and you basically see a lot of that here. It's funny. Like I was right as we were coming in here to record, I was singing John Mark McMillan songs because I'm like, that's what his style really reminds me, especially that one album he did live. I think it's called The Last Night or whatever. That album specifically, you could tell he pulls from this very much so.
Yeah, I would say that the biggest thing that separates this album from like more modern Christian music is mostly the production.
Yeah.
Because it's really funny. You'll have to give what's it called? Songs of Innocence a listen just so you can hear the effect I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because it's basically U2 trying to do their thing, but with much more modern, or modern for the time that it came out, which was like 2000. It was in the 2010s. I can't remember. Like more modern production, like things that wouldn't have been like things that you just didn't really see in like 80s pop songs, like you know, big like gang vocal, whoa, you know, stuff that really didn't start coming in to heavy use until later on. So they kind of like Songs of Innocence is kind of like them trying to do their thing, but with all that stuff added in. And I wouldn't say it's a great album, but it's very interesting just to hear them try to almost like they're trying to cop the feel of the music that they influenced.
Yeah. It was funny. We were on our a couple episodes ago, we were doing the music covers and we talked about Johnny Cash and him going into that twilight era of his career with Rick Rubin and all that, and how Johnny Cash inspired rock, which inspired metal, and then Johnny Cash and his crew looked at metal and then which inspired more Johnny Cash. It's really weird. For a video game analogy, you can say Tomb Raider inspired Uncharted, and then Uncharted inspired the new Tomb Raiders. So it's like it goes back and forth in different media. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's that Ecclesiastes for you.
Yeah. We're on Bullet in the Sky, right? Or Bullet the Blue Sky.
Yeah. Next song is Bullet the Blue Sky.
Not gonna lie, man. This song kind of slaps. Not gonna lie. It really gets your head nodding. You know? It must have been amazing to see this live. Because as I'm listening to this with a decent pair of headphones, I'm like, man, this whole album would be awesome to see live. Like, holy crap. Like, I would pay all the money, basically. Because it's like, it's so unique and interesting, at least for me. I love the bit about Jacob wrestling with the angel and then the demon seed that's brought up. It's pretty groovy. Although, as the song progresses, the lyrics get further away from being sung and just go into straight monologue, which I don't know if I like, really. I think it fits for what the song is trying to do, but I just don't prefer it. I don't think it was a good choice.
Yeah, the spoken word part at the end is a little on the cheesy side.
Yeah, they were on a roll with the first two verses.
If they were going to do it, they should have just cut it short or something. Only done it a little bit. It was too much for me. But I do like the song just because it's it stands apart from the rest of the album. Like none of the other songs on this album sound like this. It has such a cool groove, and like that all the guitar riffs are all done with a slide.
Mm.
So it's just like nothing. There's no like normal guitar riffs on this. It's all like this swirling, seasick soundscape that just like is like crazy to listen to. Like I've never listened to the song on headphones, but I imagine it probably sounds trippy on headphones.
It's
All
weird.
those different noises coming at you from all over the place.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like they were on a roll in the first two verses, and then like the monologue starts. You're like, okay, this is fine, but like, what could have been? I guess.
Yeah, they needed some. I guess from a songwriting perspective, they were like the first part of the song just kind of goes.
Yeah.
Like it's like goes at its own pace and doesn't go higher or dip down lower. And the way the song ends, it needed to dip lower somehow. But maybe this wasn't the way to do it.
Yeah, or maybe it is what it is,
But overall, it's still a great song.
Yeah. All right, number 5, David, Running to Stand Still.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I really heard the impact on Christian artists was this song. Like I was, you can obviously hear it, but this song specifically is where I'm like, oh my God, this is just for King of Country. King of Country just stole all of U2's like style. What the heck? Like, especially this album. Like I haven't heard anything of U2. I'm no expert in their band or even Tears for Fears or whoever, like I'd love to go listen to a Tears for Fears album because why not? But anyway, I also went actually after listening to this album last night, I was out working with my dad and I was listening to some music and I was like, I want to put on the first freaking country album because I'm kind of in the mood for that right now after listening to Joshua Tree. And I listened to it. It's a great follow-up after listening to this album. Like it's very much their same style, but they make it like they bring their own spin to it. And it's really, really good. And I forgot, like I listened to that album as a teenager and I'm like, oh, this is all right. Yeah, I like this. But I have such a huge respect now going back to listening to that album. For some reason, I don't know why. Just a lot of the songs really connect now. And I don't know why. The album is called Crave, which is their for King of Country's debut album, if those are listening interested. But back to Running to Stand Still, really beautiful lyrics, like really nice. And the ending is also very nice, especially with the harmonica that comes in and it leads into the title of the song and there's stuff moving right there. And you got a little bit of that cowboy bebop energy in the ending there. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, this is another one where it's like you can really tell they were trying to incorporate that sort of like rootsy American sort of music vibe into this because like it's got a very soft like piano like any sort of pop ballad might have, but then that sort of slide guitar comes in and then that harmonica comes in at the end and it's like it's
beautiful.
It just kind of elevates the whole thing.
Yeah.
And how it begins like it's unique too because like a lot of these songs on this album have very like high energy sort of rock intros and this just begins very softly, very simply, no drums, no bass. And then when the drums and bass do come in, it's like not what you expect, but it fits perfectly. It fits the vibe.
Yeah.
The vibe, as the kids say.
I mean, that's a term that's been used for decades, let's be real. But the kids are just now discovering it. So, yeah, it's a good song. I like number 5. And for some reason, David, I don't get it why, but track 6 on a lot of albums out there are my favorites. And I don't understand that. Owl City has a similar thing. Reliant K, Toby Mac's discography. You can even look at the one we did on Dark Side of the Moon, track 6. I don't remember exactly, but I remember track 6 specifically being a banger and being one of my favorite songs. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the art of the album.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe that's the secret. All the big names they release their bangers.
Yeah.
Make sure they put them on track 6. Yeah, Red Hill. So you want to go right into it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is Red Hill Mining Town, and it's, yeah, I would say that this is one of my favorites on the album. As far it's got a unique vibe to it. There's that word again, vibe.
Vibe.
Yeah, it's got a very unique vibe to it, and it's not perfect, but just because of the like convergence of every element of it, like it's so cool. I don't like the production as much on this one. I don't know why. Like everything in all the other songs is so well glued together.
Yeah.
Like all the individual layers sort of combine into this cohesive sort of unit. It's less like different parts of a rock band and just like it's a soundscape almost, you know?
Yeah.
And this one, like individual stuff, like individual guitars and synthesizers and keyboard parts, they like poke out a whole lot more than the individual parts on the other songs in this album do. And
They're kind of more apparent this round.
yeah, because it starts off with a very like a single guitar line that doesn't have much echo or reverb on it, and it pokes out a whole lot. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa!
I'm not used to this.
I'm not used to the guitar being so piercing sounding. It's like, so I get what they were trying to do with it, but I don't think it exactly landed. But overall, I like Bono's vocal performance on this is great.
Oh, dude.
Especially at the end where he just goes off.
Yeah.
And he hits those soaring high notes, and you're like, man, I wish I could sing half as high as that guy. And then, of course, there's another really good example of them trying to bring social consciousness to rock lyrics.
Yeah, especially with the whole aspect of Americana and analyzing that. For me, the storytelling in this song is very poignant. Like you have the intro of the coal miner and everything, which is what, goes to Americana. It's fitting and it just reeks of it. And I love that. It just is a plus in my book. A story about struggling. I wrote here, a story about struggling folks barely making it by. And with the lyrics, it says, the glass is cut, the bottle we're dry. Our love runs cold in the caverns of the night. We're wounded by fear, injured in doubt. I can't lose myself. You I can't live without. God, so beautiful. Like, holy crap. Like, these lyrics are just, they're gold. They're pure gold. Like, so far, what I've written here, it says, like, I also mentioned vibe a few times. You can't escape that word for some reason with this album. But I would say that whatever they strive out to do in this album, they achieve it with flying colors. Like, they are like, all right, well, this is the plan. This is the echo we're sending out from what we're playing, pun intended. And I think they achieve it really well. It's really good stuff. Kind of like, this song specifically is like a call, I would say, to the working class or the average man. But it's romanticizing the life of the average man and bringing a unique look to the blue-collar workers and uplifting them in a lot of ways. Not complaining about the businessman or their boss or, the obvious stuff you see in sex, drugs, and rock and roll or in that genre, but bringing an appreciation of living a normal life and going through life. At least that's what I see in Red Hill Mining Town. It's really nice. It's a good song. Like, yeah, this is my favorite of the album. I don't know why. It's just, I love it when specifically people outside of the US make stuff about Americana that is in a positive aspect. Because usually it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
But the obsession with American culture, kind of like the Japanese have with us and Westerns and us with them and samurais, is really flattering and really, I don't know why. It makes me very happy. And I can't explain to you exactly how, but it just makes me happy. So kind of like if like I would, oh man, I don't want to watch October Sky. It's just another movie about Americana, a boy building a rocket in a coal mine in town in the 60s.
Oh yeah.
It's great. Anyway.
Yep.
That's all I got about this song.
All right. So let's move on to In God's Country. And this is That's actually the only note I wrote for this. One of my favorites. I really like this song. It's like just everything about it, man. Just like the intro, the way it starts off, the lyrics are um the lyrics are so well done, the vocals, the guitar, everything. I really love this song. Like this is one of the ones where it's like, this album has more to it than just being, like a vehicle for the hits,
Yeah, you know. Yeah, there's an interesting aspect of lyric writing where it's really good, but for two reasons. It could be really good because it's really hitting the heart of something, or it's really good because he's talking about something and it's really profound, right? Like, I don't fully understand it, that kind of thing, right? But then there's the in between where it's, what he's talking about, but it's abstract enough that it could have more than one meaning. And I think that's where really excellent lyric writing comes into play, is when it could have more than one meaning or it could be taken in different ways, but the heart of what the songwriter has.
Yeah, for me specifically, I think this really exemplifies this is kind of like them trying to reintroduce Christian themes without explicitly stating it, so to speak, because it's really about the tension between what should be or what is going to be and what is right now, because what he's talking, the people and the places he's referring to in this song are the poor, overlooked, barren areas of the United States where people just kind of eke out their living by the sweat of their brow, and nobody gives a crap about them, but they're just there living their lives the best way they know how to. And yet but he calls it God's country. It's God's country.
Yeah.
It's almost like the tension between the hardship of what we see in front of us and the realization that there's something greater behind it all.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, David. And if you look at it, though, from a progressive perspective, I think people would associate this with something like Middle Eastern countries or something like that, like the war-torn, that kind of thing. Like,
I guess you could.
I guess you could see it that way, but I like your interpretation better because that's more to what basically this album's trying to do, So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and also says, I stand with the ends with naked flame. She stands with a naked flame. I think they're talking about potentially the Statue of Liberty or something like that, or somebody. But then it ends with, let me go back. It went to the next song. I stand with the sons of Cain, burned by the fire of love. Interesting.
Yeah, very.
Don't know what it means, but I'm sure you could pull something out of that.
I mean, Bono probably doesn't know what it means either.
That's the thing. It's like there's so many times. Like we were watching what did we finished Cowboy Bebop last night with Blaine and Josh, and then we watched the Pizza Man fight from Death Stranding 2. And I was like, dang, Kojima's just so crazy, but he can get away with something like this because he has the prowess, But it's like, isn't there plenty of times where somebody makes art that's just messy and just messy, but people love it regardless because they think it's genius, Anyway, let's go to number 8, I think, is the next one.
Yeah, Trip Through Your Wires. This one, to me, this is kind of the one where it's one of my least favorite. It's not a bad song by any means, but like I know what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really land for me. It's a little awkward.
Are you talking about the harmonica?
Well, that's part of it.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah.
I think I'm overall talking about the vibe of the song because they're really trying to go for like a rootsy, kind of give it like a swing almost.
Yeah.
Like
is it needed though?
It's just it could be great if they had done it better, but I don't think I just don't think that sort of rhythm, that sort of rhythmic feel that the song has is really in U2's wheelhouse.
Yeah, and also there's an aspect too of looking at everything that's come before on this album, all the 7 songs that we listened to, and then you get to this one, you're like, this is different. Is this trying to be a single just to release for the sake of? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they were really trying to amp up the whole rootsy Americana vibe,
Okay.
but I don't think they did it in the best way.
No.
It's
Yeah.
good attempt, but it didn't quite land for me.
Yeah, me neither. I that harmonica is what I have to say about this song is yeehaw, that harmonica, because it's so striking, piercing, I think is the word you used before in one of the songs. And I'm like, wow, I like it, but I'm not going to necessarily pick up what you're putting down with this track here, because it's a little all over the place. I'm not going to lie. Also, at this point, when I was listening to it last night, I'm like, God, is his voice just sound like that? Or is it just like an echoey reverb, like process they have on his voice? Like, is it just, what's happening with his voice?
I think it's part of the production. I really think they were trying to do a whole Americana vibe with the whole thing and meld it back into their ethereal ambient sort of thing they had going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't really work for me. And then also the lyrics seem really half-baked to me. Because like, I honestly, every time I think about this song, like I honestly can't even remember
kind of repeats
what the verses are even talking about, and the chorus is just angel or devil sung in a really awkward rhythmic way.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I feel like this is the stepchild of the songs of this list for sure. That's all really I got to say about it.
Yeah, same here. Okay, so we're moving on to the one that I missed on my One Tree Hill. So a little context about this song.
Yeah, what's the context for this? I'm curious.
So this is talking about, the name is a reference to a specific place in New Zealand, which no longer exists. Well, the place exists, but the tree of One Tree Hill was cut down by some crazy Maori activist, like in like the 90s, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's really, so that One Tree Hill with the tree that they're talking about no longer exists, which is really funny because U2's kind of like has more progressive leanings, and the whole reason the crazy Maori dude cut the tree down was because it was planted by European colonizers. God. So yeah, because basically what it was this like little mountaintop in New Zealand, and there was one tree and it's not a native tree to the island. It was planted by one of the Europeans who came to colonize the place. And like for years it was like there was just the one tree on this bare mountaintop. And it was kind of like a special place for a lot of New Zealanders, even though it was a tree planted by a European. But yeah, then this crazy dude with a chainsaw comes in and is like, colonizers must die, and he cuts it down. So there's that for you.
Yeah, it seems like that, and some Middle Eastern religions like to get rid of history for some reason. And
yeah, it's weird.
It's weird, man.
Weird.
Why don't you want to preserve history? Why break the nose off the Sphinx? What's the point of that? There's no point in that at all.
Some might say they broke the nose off the Sphinx to hide that it was actually a black pharaoh.
Oh, yeah, you know what? It could be that too.
But I'm not going to get into
We're not going to get into it.
Okay, so anyway, back to this.
So One Tree Hill in New Zealand.
Back to this song. So that's what the name is talking about, is the place in New Zealand. And U2 had a roadie. I think his name was Pete Carroll, who was a Maori man.
Okay.
And
his grandfather chopped down the tree.
No. The tree got chopped down after
this. No, I'm saying that's why. But I'm sorry, continue.
So anyway, yeah, I think his name was Pete Carroll. He was a Maori man, and he was one of the U2's roadies. And what ended up happening is him and Bono like actually became friends. And one day Bono asks this guy to take his motorcycle that he had parked somewhere and drive it back to where it needs to go. But while he was doing that, he got struck by a car and killed.
Oh.
And so this song is actually a tribute to him.
Wow. That brings like a whole new aspect of kind of the beauty that's already in this song, but it adds more context. That's really nice, especially when you look at like the lyrics and stuff. Yeah, for me, if it isn't apparent that the songwriter likes to write about war, then this song will do it for you, you know, or the aspect of war, the negative aspects of war, and all kinds of stuff. You know, war is hell, basically. But again, beautiful lyrics, but also the voice. His voice really brings them through in this song for me. Like, as someone like as only like someone that the lead can as somebody who I don't know if it's Bono or whoever the lead is in this song. I'm guessing it's Bono.
Yeah, it's Bono.
It's like it's really great, and it really again achieves what it sets out to do. But it also reminds me of like something like you'd find in like Ecclesiastics or something. Like it kind of goes back to that theme of like the lyrics can be seen as very pretentious. And this is something that you see in media. Like pretentious can be a very, very negative aspect to the creation of something. But sometimes you just need that right amount that just it becomes it's not like pretentiousness, but it's identity. And I think I always struggle with finding the separation of those two or the joining of those two. But I think for this, you tell me that they become way more pretentious later on. I think this strikes a really nice balance of pouring out your heart, but also telling a story. It's really nice. And what did I write here? It says, is there a cover happening for his... Oh, I had an issue with the screeching at the end of this song. I think that's what I was referring to earlier, where he goes high, but almost a little too high, I think, in this song. But I know this is the one you haven't listened to recently, but... There's an aspect in the end, a part in the end that just, it sounded really annoying. And I was like, oh, can you go a little lower, bro? Like, you don't have to just pelt it, you know, and put your heart out there. But maybe it's because of his buddy.
Yeah, this song
probably
is,
because
this song is a tribute to his friend. Like the chorus, he runs like a river runs to the sea. Like it's basically talking about his spirit passing on from this earth.
Yeah. It's really nice, really,
which is pretty. A cool way is a cool way to phrase that.
Yeah, if only the tree stayed around.
Yeah, I think the New Zealand government ended up planting another tree there.
Good,
but it's not the same tree.
No, it's gonna be something that's like native to New Zealand.
Yeah, it was a native tree.
What was the one? We know what was planted there before? Like, was it from Europe or something?
Let me.
Let's look that up because. Again, like
Hill.
For some reason,
and this is also I forgot this is a sitcom too. Not a sitcom, but a TV show.
Oh, One Tree Hill.
Yeah, but it was actually like the name. The show got its name from the song.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. So
I bet you it was in the 90s.
One Tree Hill. It started in 2003. It was on the CW.
Oh, then yeah,
it's one of those. It's one of those types of shows. Yeah. It's like a teen drama.
Yeah, something they tried to put right after Smallville so people would watch it. Something like that.
Yeah, where is One Tree? Okay, maybe I have to add One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill, like Wikipedia.
New
article.
Zealand.
If you type in Wikipedia too.
Oh, I typed in new and it immediately new season. No, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Okay, let's.
Watch out! Your algorithm might think you like really crappy CW shows, David.
Okay.
But while
here's a picture of the summit, by the way.
Oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's beautiful.
And then so yeah, I'll look through this article. I'll figure out what kind of
Yeah.
tree it was.
Yeah, while you do that, one of the parts here, it said, like, again, you talk about the river, it talks about, like, the sea and that kind of thing. It's cool because it reminds you, again, of, like, some of the proverbs from the Bible of, drawing close to the source of water as you're planted, And there's also another aspect, I think it's not the Valley of Dry Bones, it's the other one. I think it's in Ecclesiastics, but it mentions something of, does a tree grow further to the river or something like that? And I don't know, I don't think it's supposed to be mentioning toward that, but you can see it in this song and it's really pretty. Like, especially when you find out the background of the members and they are Christian and that kind of thing. So just really neat. Would we find what tree it is or nah? It was a Irish sequoia, because those exist.
Summit trees. Oh, okay. I mean, let's see. Okay, so I guess it's had multiple trees. So it was during like the 17th and 18th centuries. It said that the summit of the mountain had a single totara tree.
Totara.
And it got cut down by somebody.
Yeah. Totara tree. Oh wow, that thing's huge. Man. This guy had cojones to go and chop that sucker down.
It got cut down in 1852 by somebody, and then in 1875 a man named John Logan Campbell planted a single Monterey pine tree to
replace it?
To replace it. And I guess according to this article, he actually tried to grow native trees in the area and just kept failing. And this one Monterey pine that he planted like survived on that mountaintop.
Wow, dang.
And then that got cut down by it actually got attacked twice by Maori activists. The first attack happened in 1994, and then the second in 2007. And then the tree did not survive the second attack, so it had to be removed.
That sucks. Oh well. Yeah, it's a shame. People who tear down history and culture like that are just horrible folks and deserve to be in jail. But that's just a theory.
A game theory.
A game theory. All right.
Okay.
All right, let's get out of 2014 and go back to track 10, which is called Exit, David.
Indeed.
What does Exit mean to you?
So this track is not what I would call a standout for me. I do like what it's trying to do. Like all the elements, like it has a very unique vibe to it. It's almost like not even trying to be a song per se. Like you've got vocals, you've got drums, you've got guitar, you've got bass, you've got keyboards, but there's not really. It's almost like just trying to be like take all those elements and turn them into a soundscape. And it's so if you're hoping for this to be like another song like with verse and chorus, you'd probably be disappointed. But if you take it for what it is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's from what I interpret it as, it's called Exit, obviously. It's supposed to outro the concert or whatever. Like that's probably its intention. And it does its good job, I think, for what it's called. I just think there's a lot of something missing with this thing. Like there's something missing that they could have had that could have brought it to great heights. Because there's some songs out there that are closers and they're great. and they're great as closers, but they weren't necessarily intended as such. But when you go out and intentionally make a closing song, this one doesn't really cut it for me. They could have done something, you know? I don't know. It could have done something where, like, it makes sense it fades away, but something could have been done to add a little bit more, like, crescendo to it, like a little bit, some more spice or whatever. At this point when I was listening to it, I was kind of like ready to be done listening to it, and then I found out about the Christian aspect. I'm like, oh shoot, and so I re-listened to some of it. But it's an Exit song. Take for what it is. It's literally called Exit, I guess. So nothing special.
It's kind of like the album's winding down at this point.
Yeah.
It's not the last song on the album, but it's second to last, so the album's definitely winding down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish they had done a little bit more with it, but what they did do with it is cool enough. It's not something you want to listen to on by itself, but in the context of the whole album, it's cool.
Yeah. The art of the album, as they say.
Yeah, and so I guess if you've got nothing else, we can go right on ahead to our final track.
Number 11, Mothers of the Disappeared. A very quiet song.
Yeah, it doesn't really go anywhere. It just stays low.
Yeah.
I do like how there's guitars in there, but they're not really what's driving the song. They're just like, they're way in the background. I mean, they're kind of like the individual guitar parts in most of this album are all in the background, but there's a lot of them built up.
Yeah.
And so even though no individual guitar part really pokes out too much, like just because of the sheer number of guitar layers that there are, like it's a very guitar driven album.
Yeah.
But this song is just not guitar driven at all. Like it's all synthesizers, which I think is kind of a cool direction to go, because like none of the, like there's no synth or keyboard player like in the band. Like the Edge plays keyboards occasionally. He's most famous for the song New Year's Day, where he like switches between playing piano and guitar.
I think I've heard that.
So it's kind of cool if you look up a live video of it. He's like got his guitar hanging there and he's playing piano, and then when it comes time to play the guitar parts, he stops playing the piano and starts playing the guitar. It's kind of interesting.
That's cool.
But other than doing weird stuff like that, like there's not a keyboard player in the band. So it's kind of interesting that this song is just all keyboards basically. But it's very well done for what they were trying to go for. Let's see, what do I have here? Like I kind of like the sort of the tension between the lyrics and the sound of the song, because the lyrics are very dark. It's about basically, it's literally what it's talking about in the title, Mothers of the Disappeared. The grief left behind when mothers lose their children through war or some other kind of tragedy. It's that
very somber.
Yeah, it's it's a song of mourning basically. But yet the sound of the song is almost hopeful in a way.
Yeah.
It kind of like points you to like, this could still work out for good, even though these terrible tragedies have taken place.
Yeah. That's kind of my whole, kind of like what my outro it's funny, this came on and I was starting to write, and basically I just wrote my summary of the album. Like, and if you don't mind, I'll just read it here.
Yeah.
This album brings a moody teenager's spirits back to earth, is what I would say. Whether he or she is going through a breakup, losing a loved one, or just being moody, this is the cure. This is the cure to all that depression. And not even a teenager, but other folks as well. It's an example of striving for a mood and reaching that goal. It's an excellent example of striving and then achieving what is set out to do. It isn't really my thing. Well, I don't know. I have any second thoughts on that. So take that away. It's well done for what it is. I can see why people love this album. It has this contagious spirit that hope still exists in a dark, lonely world, is what I would say. It gives off a sense of looking up in the sky and saying, you know what, things are terrible, but man, that sky is beautiful. after finding out that Bono is a Christian. It makes a lot of sense when you're looking at the lyric writing, which is definitely up my alley. I wouldn't necessarily throw this album in every playlist or CD I had to burn, but it's a dang solid album. Cheers, and here's to many more. Pretty good. And the song, it's an outro song, I guess. You know, it's another one of those, like, it's a down. We're again, it's the weird hope that it introduces while it's talking about these, you know, basically the kids are gone, you know, or the kids are all that remains, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole song is basically talking about mourning loss.
Yeah.
Specifically in light, not specifically in light of like unnatural loss, like war, tragedy, sickness, that kind of thing. Losing the pain of losing somebody when it didn't feel like it was their time to go.
Yeah.
And then, but yet despite never going high musically, it has this weird sort of hopeful, this hopeful vibe to it. And it kind of fills you with the sense like, yeah, maybe everything is going to work out all right in the end somehow.
Yeah, this album kind of comes off as therapy, I could see for some people. Like, I said moody teenager, but you could equate it to parents who lost a child, or a child who lost their parents, or I'm away from family, or, you know, I have to reconnect and I don't know if I'm willing to do that kind of thing. Like, it could be in any kind of scenario. But this album really does. Ethereal isn't the word. You could also equate it to spiritual, I guess. I mean, we are all spiritual beings, and the folks who wrote it definitely had something like that in mind. So I just, you saying that their stuff later on is more pretentious gives me pause of continuing to listen to U2, or their later stuff, I should say. But seeing how this album, they found their like place, is from what you've said, they definitely hit it in the right spot with it.
Yeah, and not to say that like their later stuff sucks.
Yeah.
It's just
does it have the same heart though? Is my curiosity.
It's not real like this is. Like this, some might call it pretentious, but because it tries very hard to achieve lofty goals. So some might call it pretentious for that, but it's real. There's a depth to it. There's an emotion to it. It's not trying to achieve lofty goals simply so that you'll think it's really cool. It's, you know, it's striving for something better. It's like someone striving for something better than what they see in front of them. Like going through the trials they face, knowing in their heart that somewhere there's something better for them. So that's so they're going to keep going. They're going to keep striving for that, even if life throws some curveballs at their way. And this album is kind of like the musical equivalent of that. And their subsequent stuff feels a lot more like
worldly.
It more like just like, look at me, look at how deep and
introspective I am.
Yeah, kind of a thing. Not to say that they didn't produce some catchy songs, but it just doesn't have the same...
that same verisimilitude.
Yeah, it doesn't speak to something universally true like the songs in this album do.
Yeah, great album though. The Joshua Tree. And why is it called the Joshua Tree?
Well, it's in reference to a Joshua tree is a specific kind of plant that grows in Southern California in the high deserts. So as far as I understand, they traveled America extensively when they started getting big before they recorded this album. Like, so when they started getting really, really big, they toured America extensively. And when they came to, there's a wilderness area in Southern California called Joshua Tree National Park. It's all like high desert, and this plant, which is a very strange it's a very weird. You'll have to look up a picture of a Joshua tree because it's a very weird weird looking plant, and they grow in that area. And so, from what I understand, um, seeing that place kind of sort of cemented the concept of this album in their minds. And actually, all the photos in the album, like the cover and all the photos on the inside, were all taken in that area as well.
Oh, interesting.
And I actually spent a few days not in Joshua Tree National Park, but in that sort of high desert area of Southern California near Bakersfield, not in Bakersfield.
Mhm.
Bakersfield is a terrible city. But near it.
Near.
And yeah, it's very interesting place because it's desert, but it's like high elevation desert.
Yeah.
So it's actually, it doesn't get as hot in the summer
it's gonna be cool
down there as it does up here.
Yeah.
Even though it's a literal desert. So it's got its own sort of vibe to it. So I can kind of see why this they were inspired to name the album after the Joshua Tree and take all their band photos in that locale.
Also, they're from Ireland, correct?
Yes.
They're not used to desert at all.
No.
But that's kind of the cool thing about California. There's so many different places in one geographically bordered area.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very
or not geographically bordered. What's
politically bordered?
Politically bordered, yeah.
Yeah. The lines on the map, the area that the lines on the map enclose features a lot of different variety of climates and natural features and terrains and all sorts of things.
And we just happen to be in one of the hottest ones up here in Northern California.
Yeah.
The true Northern California.
Yeah. It's really funny how people say Northern California when they're talking about like San Francisco.
Yeah, God. I hate it.
Which I guess that is probably why a lot of people refer to this area as the North State instead of Northern California.
Yeah.
Simply because this is definitely not anything like the Bay Area.
No,
we don't consider the Bay Area to be a part of this area of California.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think it'll be called State of Jefferson anytime soon, but maybe Northern California. I don't know. One day where we'll separate and inherit some debt and have to pay that off for another 50 years.
But for right now, we definitely still haven't found what we're looking for.
Oh, David. Oh, wow. Well, and with that, we're going to have to end it there because that was just too perfect. So thank you again for listening to yet another episode of the Snarp Fangle Podcast. Thank you, David, for bringing this to our attention, the audience and myself. And outside of this, I would have never seeked this out. So thank you for making me do research and then make me ponder some things. So thank you, David. We'll see you again next time. Remember, even if you have found what you're looking for, don't forget to remember to snarp fangle on.
Bye-bye now.
Is that my cousin over there? Let me wave at him and see if he notices.
Look over there, Timothy. It's a native. He's blessing the land. Well, gosh dang it, Timothy. Take off your dang hat. Show some respect.
This is such an honor. Nah, that's not even him.